Throughout our lives, we receive input from a multitude of sources: school friends, associates, media influences, home, the streets. It comes from books, listening, and observing. As adults, all the new information that comes our way is examined through the filter of our personal philosophy. The concepts that seem to agree with the conclusions we have already reached are added to our storehouse of knowledge and serve to reinforce our current thinking. Those ideas that seem to contradict our beliefs are usually quickly rejected. We are constantly in the process of checking our pre-existing beliefs for accuracy or confirmation in the light of the new information. As we blend new with old, the result is either the strengthening of our past beliefs or the broadening of our current philosophy in light of new and valuable information about life and people. Personal philosophy is like the set of the sail. We have all experienced the blowing winds of disappointment, despair, and heartbreak. What guides us to different destinations in life is determined by the way we have chosen to set our sail. The way that each of us thinks makes the major difference in where each of us arrives. The difference is not circumstances. The difference is the set of the sail. When the winds change, we must change. We must struggle to our feet and reset the sail in a manner that will steer us toward the destination of our own deliberate choosing. The set of the sail, how we think and how we respond, has a far greater capacity to destroy our lives than any challenges we face. Once we discipline ourselves to understand this, we will conclude that the great challenge in life is to control the process of our own thinking. How to develop a powerful personal philosophy. First, make an objective review of conclusions we have drawn about life. Second, get positive information from our experiences, an objective observer, through others' experiences, through books and audio messages, through journaling and reviewing our own experiences. Then, determine what daily small errors in judgment we are making. Next, determine what daily small disciplines will help us. Finally, learn to listen to the still, small voice of success rather than the loud voice of negativity. The second piece of the puzzle is attitude. While philosophy deals essentially with the logical side of life, information and thinking habits, attitude focuses primarily on emotional issues that affect our existence. What we know determines our philosophy. How we feel about what we know determines our attitude. Like thoughts, emotions have the capacity to propel us toward future fortune or future disaster. The feelings we carry within us about people, our work, our homes, our finances, and about the world around us collectively form our attitude. With the right attitude, human beings can move mountains. With the wrong attitude, they can be crushed by the smallest grain of sand. Having the right attitude is one of the fundamentals of the good life. That's why we must constantly examine our feelings about our role in the world and our possibilities for achieving our dreams. Since everything in life affects everything else, we must make a careful study of everything and everyone that might be having a wrong effect on our current attitude, including our past and our present circumstances. The thoughts and feelings we allow ourselves to have today are shaping our future. The future is a mirror image of our current philosophy and attitude about life. Here are some things to remember about attitude. First, we cannot succeed by ourselves. Second, appreciating self-worth is the beginning of progress. Next, how we feel about ourselves is a matter of choice. Finally, how we feel is influenced by our associations. The third piece of the puzzle is activity. Whatever life has handed us, whether it's a lot or a little, it is our responsibility to do something with what we have been given. That is how we change pennies into fortunes and obstacles into opportunity, by taking all that we have and all that we are and putting it to work. Sooner or later, we must convert knowledge and good feelings into activity. The more we start with, the more we will receive for our disciplined work. The more being a sound personal philosophy and right attitude. The more we know and the better we feel about ourselves and our opportunities, the greater our chances for success will be. But these aren't enough in and of themselves. What we know and how we feel merely determine potential for achievement. Whether we actually achieve our goals is ultimately determined by our activity. Enterprise is always better than ease. Every time we choose to do less than we could, this error in judgment has an effect on our self-confidence. Repeated every day, we soon find ourselves not only doing less than we should, but also being less than we should. Fortunately, it is easy to reverse the process. Any day we choose, we can develop a new discipline of doing rather than neglecting. Every time we choose action over ease or labor over rest, we develop an increasing level of self-worth, self-respect, and self-confidence. In the final analysis, it is how we feel about ourselves that is the greatest reward from activity. It is not what we get that makes us valuable. It is what we become in the process of doing that brings value to our lives. What should be the ratio of activity to rest? Life cannot be a process of all work and no rest. It is important to set aside sufficient time to regain our strength. The Bible offers the philosophy of the ratio of 6 days of labor to 1 day of rest. For some, this will seem somewhat heavy on the labor side. Each of us must select the ratio that best reflects the reward we are seeking, remembering that with diminished labor comes diminished rewards. When choosing our activities, they must first be intelligent, also must be planned, and finally must be disciplined. Activity is a major part of the life puzzle. It is the power that gives substance and meaning to our philosophy and our attitude. Intelligent, planned, intense, and consistent activity creates new energy and keeps us moving toward the exciting future that our thoughts and desires have already designed for us. The fourth piece of the puzzle is results. Results are the harvest that comes from our past efforts. If the farmer has planted only a handful of seeds in the spring, he cannot expect to reap a very bountiful harvest in the fall. Likewise, if a person has engaged in only minimal activity in the past, he should not expect significant results in the present. Results are always in direct proportion to effort. Those who rest in the spring do not reap in the fall, regardless of need and regardless of desire. Results are the reward reserved for those who had the foresight to seize an earlier opportunity. If the opportunity was missed, the reward will be withheld. If our past labors produced a poor harvest, there is nothing we can do about it. We cannot alter the past. The only thing we can do is prepare for the inevitable arrival of another spring, another opportunity, and then plant, nourish, and tend our new crop as diligently as possible, remembering the painful consequences of our past neglect. In remembering the consequences, however, we must not allow ourselves to be overcome by them. Their lesson must serve us, not overwhelm us. If we are not satisfied with what we have achieved at this point in our lives, then now is the time to fix the future. Unless we change how we are right now, what we have will always be about the same. The same seed sown by the same sower will inevitably produce the same harvest. For the harvest to change, it may be necessary to change the seed, the soil, or more likely than not, the sower. Everything we have in life, the tangibles as well as the intangibles, is a direct result of who we are. If we lost everything tomorrow, we could easily replace it. Why? Because we acquired those things as a result of what we are. Assuming what we are has not changed, in time we will attract back into our lives everything we may have lost. The same applied knowledge, the same attitude, the same effort, and the same plan will produce the same results. If you want better, become better. Have a better philosophy, a better attitude, and a better activity level so you can have better results. Be sure to measure your results frequently so you can ascertain that your philosophy, attitude, and activity are serving you well. The fifth piece of the puzzle is lifestyle. The final blending of our philosophy, attitude, activity, and results is what creates this final personal quest that we call lifestyle. Lifestyle is how we choose to live and how we design our lives. It is the sophisticated understanding of the difference between life's trinkets and life's treasures. Some attribute their poor attitude about life to their low level of income. They maintain that if they ever solve their money problems, they would show us what happiness is really all about. They have not yet discovered that it was their failure to find happiness in the past that affected their current income. Until they discover that happiness is a part of the cause and that wealth is merely an effect, their circumstances are not likely to change. The exciting thing about lifestyle is that we can have it all now. We don't have to wait until we are wealthy or powerful or famous to experience happiness. Lifestyle is really nothing more than the art of doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. Our lifestyle communicates a clear message about who we are and how we think. Lifestyle is where we go, what we do, and how we feel once we are there. Lifestyle is a mixture of substance as well as style, refinement as well as intellect, and emotional control in times of challenge, as well as emotional release in times of joy and happiness. Lifestyle means designing ways to live uniquely. It is a skill to be mastered, not a condition to be pursued. Lifestyle is finding new ways to bring joy, pleasure, excitement, and substance into the lives of those we care for while we are working on our goals, not once we have achieved them. Whether we offer our time, a shoulder to cry on, a word of sincere appreciation, or our undivided attention, if we will just be there and really live in that moment, what an experience that could be. Which brings us to our conclusion: urgency. The barrier to success is often that because we have so much, we tend to settle for so little. When we have a place to live, a phone, a television, a car, a source of income, clothes to wear, and food to eat, we drift into a dangerous place called the comfort zone. We lack either the sense of overwhelming desperation or the incredible force of inspiration to drive us into the marketplace. We might often wish for more, we might frequently want more, but we have neither a burning need nor a burning desire to do what it takes to have more. The most dangerous aspect of the comfort zone is that it affects our hearing. The more comfortable we are, the more oblivious we become to the sound of the ticking clock. Because there always seems to be so much time ahead of us, we unwittingly squander the present moment. We use it for entertaining ourselves rather than preparing ourselves. Those who live in the comfort zone seem to have developed a strange philosophy about human immortality. There's always tomorrow. There's always next week, next month, next year. There's no real cause for concern. There's no real need to do anything about changing it right now. After all, it won't always be this way. By this time next year, things will be different for me. The problem with waiting until tomorrow is that when it finally arrives, it is called today. Each of us must pause frequently to remind ourselves that the clock is ticking. We cannot afford to wait for the 2-minute warning. We cannot afford to wait until the last few minutes to discover that our game plan wasn't working. We must challenge ourselves right now to a new level of achievement. We must impose upon ourselves a new discipline and develop an attitude about life that motivates us and inspires others. We must identify our current opportunity and embrace it. We must breathe our talent, vigor, and sense of urgency into its existence and discover all that we can do. You can do it. You can change your life, and you can start right now by simply developing a new sense of urgency. May the pieces to your life puzzle come together smoothly, and may you enjoy the picture of that finished masterpiece as a result of our unwavering commitment to mastering the basics. Let your efforts and the results give cause to those who will one day gather to pass judgment on your existence to speak only the simple phrase, "Well done, good and faithful servant."